It's very important. I think it's been something that is missing in the African culture, that many parents have taken their kids to the city. I mean, they didn't actually take their kids to the city, but they were born in the villages. Then, because of hardship and dreams, because that shouldn't be in law, they went to the city center. They found a better life, but they didn't teach their kids. First of all, they didn't teach their kids the mother language. They didn't teach their kids the vernacular from where they came from. They speak the vernacular with their brothers, with their sisters, with their with with their grandparents, with their parents, but their kids know nothing about the language where they came from. And this happens a lot with countries like, for example, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, where we have almost 200 languages. So it almost seems like they don't care. They feel that if their kids speak better English and speaks better English and can enunciate and pronounce words the way the white man does or something, it's better. I'm not saying it's wrong because I have learned to pronounce words. I used to have English teachers that were not really good. They used to say bear when they were talking about a bird. But I'm saying that that has left the bus station to the extent where it seems like now that wasn't really the thing you wanted. That wasn't the thing they wanted. That wasn't the thing they wanted. But now the bus station has left, and these kids believe that that's all that is. They don't even teach them about the culture. They don't teach them about nothing about where they come from. They don't teach them about the history of where they come from. They don't talk about the history where they come from. They don't even allow people to come to their houses to talk about the history where they come from. And which makes it so difficult for the kids to even understand who they are. So when they go out there, they are talking about the most stupid things, and they might not even understand who they are. And then they tell foreigners the most stupid things you will ever you will never believe. And those most of those things are under the umbrella of stereotype. And sometimes there are not even stereotypes that are even worse than the BBC News, because it almost seems like they tell them that we are like, let's say, like a hunter that hunts for the pleasure of killing animals, but not for food. It's very annoying that some of our parents did fail, and some of the new parents that are my age group also fail, are about to fail, because they think that ignoring where you came from because you grew up abroad, or you gave birth to a kid abroad, or you left your village and you came to the city, all you thought of is that the only reason that your kid can survive is to learn English and French. This this I'm saying this because it's a particular case study about Cameroon, but I think anyone can relate in any other fashion. But it doesn't make sense. If your kid, even if your wife came from another village, cannot speak your wife's language, or cannot even speak your language, and you're telling me at any point in life that you 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 could have been a good parent, yes, but that you taught them the basics of who you are and where we are from, and that we could sit down and actually talk. This is why we have a problem today, that when we sit down with some brothers and sisters, we cannot relate because he doesn't understand what we are talking about. He doesn't understand what we mean. He doesn't understand where we are going. He doesn't understand the vision of the future. Exactly what it is. You know, it's quite funny how even names have been something in the African culture that was very important. Names were not just names. Names meant something. Names had definitions. Names had a power behind it, which today some people call it African spirituality, or they call it spirituality. It look. I did philosophy in high school. What I learned about this kind of stuff, and that I didn't understand at the time, and that now that I'm an adult and reading other books, is the reason is that you don't need to define God. You don't need to define the supreme. You don't need to define that which created the universe. But you have to understand that there was a being, or there is a thing that created the universe. So, which means that there was power behind everything. And most of our grandparents and great grandparents and ancestors understood that there was a being greater than that which they are. So when a name was given to you, it was a name handed down to you, which means they wish that upon you. So how do you expect in any part of the world that when Africans hear the name butler or hear the name gardener, that is a person's name actually. There are people that answer those names, or hear the name Jesus or Jesus, that is someone's name. I'm not judging them, but I'm telling you that these are names that are handed down. Now, coming to the fact that they could be names because of the new Gen Zs and everything that is happening, could be that they feel that these names are juju names and magic names. They don't want to give their kids names handed down from dead men and dead women. But at the end of the day, what is the history that we want to leave to our kids? And they handed down folk laws and folk history that is handed down to our kids to continue what was and what is. That is the African culture. When we just give names because we feel like it sounds sweet. I know Cameroonians also adopted this from these Nigerian movies and all this stuff, where they give names like Blessing. That's one funny name.